So welcome to this deep dive. Before I hand over to Alain, who organized everything, let me just say on Wednesday, we're going to have a social get-together for the program, for the deep dive, but also for the whole program. Somebody laughing that. From sort of 5-ish to 7 or so, and we're going to have pizza and a few leftover drinks and stuff. Anyway, originally we had really big plans for it. I mean, having music and everything, but I think that sort of fell apart. But if you still want to play something, an instrument or so, then you're very welcome. We have the equipment and everything, except for the instruments. But now it's basically down to so get together and having good company. But please, I mean, I sent around an email. Hopefully it has gone out. If not yet, then it should come out to the current participants. So please put your name down, because if you, I mean, for ordering pizza, we have to have a rough idea how much pizza we need. So please do that I mean, the best you do it today, actually. All right, that's it, and I hand over to.
Okay, so thank you, Sebastian. So yes, I am organizing with this deep dive with Eric. Hopefully, will be there this afternoon. Otherwise, I have a backup. So yeah, I sent to Sebastian. But so I will discuss a bit with Marita, and we agree that maybe okay, a lot of people there are not very familiar with the generative model, and in particular with this nice, last state-of-the-art model, which are diffusion model, and that's why, in fact, I will present here some introduction to these models. And hopefully, we could present some introduction to the application to inference problems. So just to mention that, my mini course is based on some course which was given by my former PhD student, Valentin de Bartoli, which was improved by my PhD advisor, Eric, and now let's say it's a family business. Okay, let's start nicely. So I just want to give you in a nutshell what are generative models. We start very gently. So here what we have, so just to set the notation, so here we denote by X my state space, here my observation will be on this subset of RP, right? And I said that I have n, in fact, n as n observation inside, which are assumed to be, of course, as usual, IID observation from an unknown distribution near star, right? And all the game of generative models is trying to, in fact, get a new sample from the star. So compared to MCMC or all the business in Monte Carlo method, well, in general, you have the target distribution with a non-known density, but just up to multiplicative constants, right? So here you don't have access even to a density, you just have access to some IID observation. So that's, it says, another game compared to traditional Monte Carlo problem. So here, in fact, in all the game, in all these generative models, what comes is it reduces to is, in fact, it reduces to, in fact, try to fix, in fact, a family of distribution with theta, and it's still by theta, which is assumed here to be a subset of RD. And of course, you design, and I will show you how to design in theta, which more or less what's boils down. So here, we assume that the design of theta is done in such a way that it's possible to sample from theta for any theta. And now, if you have design theta, this family of the solution with theta. Now you want to fix the parameter theta with respect to your observation. And once you have fixed the parameter theta, you find some theta star, then you get a new sample from the target distribution mu star. You just sample from mu theta star, and you assume that it's approximately mu star. So now in the design of this family of theta, I have distinguished two cases. It's a bit naive, but it's how, in fact, I understand this field. In fact, is that okay? Here I understand which are in fact there are some relation, of course, between these two approaches. So the first one is called what I call the statistical approach, and the other one is the transformation approach. Okay. So here in this statistical approach, what you do is that okay, here you construct Nikita based on a family now of density with respect to reference measure lambda. Okay. Okay, P theta is not necessarily tractable, meaning that okay, maybe in general, okay, P theta should not be known up to multiplicative constants, should be known only to up to multiplicative constants. Okay. But okay, that's basically the common statistical approach. Here you design a sequence of models, okay, but compared to the visual frequency approach, okay, P theta in general, okay, you know P theta up just up to multiplicative constants, and still okay, you want to sample from P theta, and you can see already the link with traditional efficiency algorithm or Monte Carlo. Okay, so that's the first approach. Okay, and in fact, the presentation of diffusion model which I give you here is basically, in fact, consists in this taking this approach, okay, and designing nicely, okay, this family of density P theta, and how, in fact, to try to base now on this family how to fit the parameter theta with respect to the observation, and as it's in general, okay, the dominating measure, of course, will be the Lebesgue measure. Okay. If it is not precise, if it is not specified, okay, lambda will be always the Lebesgue measure. So the other approach, okay, which has been also quite successful in generative models, is based on what I call the transformation approach. So where here, in fact, you define a sequence of distribution mu theta based on a family of transformation T theta, right? So here you can think in as a family theta is in fact the weight of your favorite neural network, okay? And based on your favorite neural network, okay, you can define, right, the family of mu theta, which consists just in the push forward measure, okay, of a reference measure on mu, okay, which will be in general Gaussian. Okay, so mu, you know how to sample from mu. And you push forward, in fact, this reference measure mu by your map theta, and based, since in fact you assume that okay, you know how to evaluate theta and you know how to sample from mu, you know to sample how to sample from mu theta for any theta, and okay, what's left done is still again to try to fit theta with respect to your data. So here, compared to the previous approach, right? So mu theta does not admit in general, in fact, density with respect to the reference measure. Yes, so, but of course there are some relation between both. In fact, you can combine both approaches to get the best of the two worlds. Okay. So now, okay, I present you two approaches in designing the family of the statistical mu theta. Okay, and now the question which is less is okay, how now once you have designed mu theta, that's how to fit the data, right? So that's in fact you want to find a theta, so that theta is approximately your target distribution, the star which is a distribution which is supposed of your observation. So okay, that's in a nutshell presentation of generative models, and now in the sequence of my talk, I will discuss more, in particular more about the diffusion model, but okay, it really fits in fact with all of this observation, meaning that okay, first we will try to design the sequence of theta, okay, and based on on the design of this sequence of the family of distribution of theta, okay, we'll come with some numerical recipe in trying to fit the parameter with respect to the observation. Okay, so here is just some marketing slides. Okay, so what is apparently Now it's called diffusion model are state-of-the-art generative models. Okay, they are quite flexible, okay, because they have been applied in many applications nowadays. There are some theoretical analysis, and in fact, currently I'm also getting in fact a new analysis of this kind of generative model, linking to in fact this diffusion model with theory of optimal control. But okay, it will not be the point, but if you would be interested, okay, we can discuss it later. And here, okay, just a few drawbacks. Okay, that's okay. If you implement it, if you implement this method naively, okay, it can be slow. And the statistical, okay, we don't know yet, but I think it's just some technicalities to learn it. But okay, the statistical analysis of this kind of model compared to GAN, for example, has not been done yet. Okay. And so, in fact, the statistical understanding is still needed. Okay, so here's the goal more or less of this session. That I will introduce stochastic score gradient generative models, so SGM. And I will present some link with some other model if time allows. Right? And here, I will introduce in fact SGM based on a naive approach. Okay, there is no need of stochastic calculation at all, which is based on a paper, and I will give you the reference after, on a paper which presents in fact this kind of generative model based on what is called ancestral sampling. Then, okay, and I will be quite slow, okay, because it's quite nice to have all the details, with the intuition behind the models. Then, okay, I will go through another interpretation of this kind of model based on variational autoencoder. It's the second part of the course. And I will conclude with also the link with a reciprocal process in stochastic computation. So let's go for it. So as I said to you, just a bit of history. So in fact, the first paper which introduced SGM is a paper by Stein and Potter in 2015. But in fact, at that time, it was believed that it was quite impossible to implement. Right? And then, in fact, the first, let's say, efficient implementation of the method has been done by Song and Herman, and in parallel by Potter. Well, in fact, they really push the model and makes the things done. Okay, means that it makes the model work, and by a bit of a numerical trick. But yeah, in fact, yeah, so to conclude, okay, the first, in fact, the characteristic comes with this paper, and then, in fact, this the extension which makes the things done in this paper. Here, as I said to you, the first presentation of SGM is based on this paper, which presents the SGM based on ancestral sampling. So let's do it. So basically what SGM tries to do in the lecture is that okay, you start from so as I said to you, what you would like, you take the statistical approach. And what you want, you want to start from your distribution of your data. So here, a mixture of Gaussian. Okay. You want to diffuse a bit these targets, okay, using some stochastic process, which you are designed in such a way that, in fact, if you start from this initial distribution, your stochastic process converge to the stationary distribution. So here a Gaussian, and in fact, in all my example, it would be the targets of my process will be a Gaussian. Okay. And okay, so here you want to define a marker process, okay, which transports your data distribution to your targets. Okay. And based on these transports, you want to learn how to go backward in time. Okay. So now, okay, based on this forward process, can we go, in fact, now if we start from Gaussian, right, here, then we somehow try to reverse this process and go back to the data distribution. So that's basically the idea. And that's here, as I said, so here you want to transport your data distribution to an easy to sample distribution, which I denote by mu0 into sequel. Okay. And to simplify the permutation and not to simplify. So here I assume that my data distribution mu star has a density p star with respect to the Lebesgue measure, just to simplify a bit the permutation. So just some vocabulary. So here the process which will transport my data distribution to my target will be called the noising process, or the forward process. Yeah. And now the process which try to transport the Gaussian distribution and to the data distribution will be called the generative process or the backward process. Okay, so now, okay, it's working well. The idea that he wants to come up and he wants to implement. Okay, so here everything will be discrete. Yes, so we begin with, we start with continuous time. So here, what I want to design? I want to design a stochastic process, which will be denoted by psi here. And here I take n step, because so here I take a process with ns step, or number of samples, yeah, which starts from mu star and my easy to sample distribution. So here the Gaussian distribution. Okay. And now the game is that okay, how to try to define the process xi, which satisfies such a constraints. Okay. And here, okay, since a lot of you I think are used to this, to design the process, you can think about non-homogeneous Markov chain. Okay. So here, here we will design in fact xi, non-homogeneous Markov chain, starting from here. So it should be mu star. Okay. And starting from your data distribution, okay, you just consider now you want to design a non-homogeneous Markov chain. So for this, you consider a family of condition density pk plus 1 given k, right? And based on this family of condition density, you can define easily a non-homogeneous Markov chain xk. So in such a way that the distribution of xk plus 1 given xk is simply specified by the function density pk plus 1 given k. And here you want to design your family of condition here, such a way that, as I said to you, what you want that your stochastic process converge to the Gaussian distribution. Okay, so here, mu0. Okay.
So what is the difference between the first idea and the second idea? Instead of, I mean, except for numbering the axis differently, I mean, is each of the two you start with?
So here, in fact, the first idea, okay, it's just that here you will. It's the main issue that okay, you will never try to bridge. In fact, these two distributions is very hard. What you can only do is that you can only try to relax a bit this constraint by just imposing that the distribution of x and s is close, almost zero.
And now the second idea, you do what? You not exactly.
No, here it's so yes, I said in fact it's a typo. You start from mu star, and you design a non-homogeneous Markov chain in such a way that it's
you
start
endpoints exactly so that you end up exactly in the right distribution.
No, here you end almost
to
mu0, and you start exactly to mu star.
All right, and the second idea.
That's the second idea. Here you replace these constraints by that x and s is almost mu0. So here the two constraints here is too difficult. Okay, you cannot. it's quite challenging to try to design exactly.
Well, that's a Schrödinger bridge.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
How you
The first idea is the Schrödinger bridge.
Yes.
And the second one is
that here you relax this condition. And try in fact to design this xk, the sequence xk, in such a way that endpoints is not zero. It's not yes zero, but almost zero. That's the second idea. And that you relax just these conditions.
okay.
The consequence is that the second one is that converted to zero as n is close to infinity.
Yes. Because
N
here,
goes
of
to
course,
infinity.
yes, of course, okay, it's approximately if ns, okay, is large enough, you expect, and in fact, you can quantify that it's ns as a distribution which is very close to zero.
And conversion to infinity.
Yes, of course. And as, okay, I will be more precise afterward, but in fact, in all this fancy notation, it will be very, very easy because as we consider, in fact, we just consider autoregressive process, we consider distribution, so it will ease a lot, like all this. But basically, the idea is really that okay, if you could end up with other Markov, non-homogeneous Markov chain, okay, you also apply the idea. Okay, so as I said, here we now okay, based on this sequence of transition density, right? We come up with the distribution, the density of all the process. Okay, so here, if I denote x0 and s, the concatenation of xk from 0 to ns, the density, of course, will just be p0 and s, just a product of p0 and the transition density. Okay. And okay, so it will be the starting point. Okay, of the LGM as we see. As I said, now okay, we have the density of the forward, right? And now all the game in LGM is that okay, can we in fact try to reverse this process? So just to preliminary.
Sorry again. Sorry.
Yeah,
So the red box now is again going from the true distribution, I mean the data distribution to your reference measure. Is that or is it the other way around?
So here, okay, we have first defined okay the distribution of your forward here. So here mu star.
So mu star is the data distribution.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Okay. That's we call the forward part.
Yes, exactly.
That's so confusing.
Yeah,
Why?
you call it P not there.
P0, yes. So here it just says okay, P naught because it's a starting point of my my process.
Right.
You starting this.
So here it should be P star if you want, yes. Okay.
So this is the P naught is the mu star.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right. But the whole thing about this, what confuses me hopelessly, is that it's all upside down, right? What you call forward is for me the backward, and what you probably call the backward is for me the forward.
Yes, exactly.
And if you switch that picture, you back to optimal control and all the beautiful things we know.
Yes,
Right?
yes,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
But here in the literature,
I know.
sorry about
Okay.
Okay. So now, okay, I have defined my forward, okay, or my backward for Sebastian. And now I want to reverse this process and go from mu 0 to mu star. So, and here, okay, I made the precision, okay. I did not P star, okay. I use the same notation P star and P0 just to confuse you. P star is P0.
Mu star.
Yes, exactly. It's just that here I did not for simplicity. Okay, P0 by okay. I take the same notation for P star and P0. Just that in fact, yes, sorry.
It'll be mu
Yes,
star.
exactly. It will be mu star.
So put it down here. So new star equal P star equal P
Yes,
naught.
yes,
Right?
yes, exactly. Okay,
But you first the measuring, first the measuring.
yes, exactly.
Okay. Shut up.
So now, okay, just an observation that okay, here, okay, I have almost exactly, and I will use this observation in follows. I have almost the marginal, I have almost the marginal of xk, okay. The marginal, the distribution of the marginal xk here, okay, is denoted in the sequel pk, it's just okay. You know that's just the just the integral, okay, of the full likelihood with respect to all the other variables. Okay. And now, okay, what we make a lot of assumption. In fact, here we will pretend, okay, to in the design of the backward, we'll pretend that in fact x and s, okay, the distribution of x and s, which are density p and s, is exactly zero. Okay, so that's what we will pretend in the sequel to design, in fact, the backward. And here, okay, what I mean, in fact, is something the backward is that okay, here from to sample from new star to new zero, we have defined, okay, we have designed an emergent Markov chain, okay, and we have used the function density k plus 1 given k. And now, okay, what we want to go forward, okay, going from new zero to new star. And to do so, if PNS, in fact, is supposed to be new zero, what it boils down is, in fact, to trying to get the Conditional distribution of xk plus 1, of xk given xk plus 1. Okay, so more, in fact. So here, if, just a remark, I mean my iPad. Yeah. So here, okay, what some calculation I will use, which I will be using, that okay, as I said, we want to now try to get the Conditional distribution of xk given xk plus 1, because we want to go backward. Again, to do so, in fact, based on the if you just use the base formula, okay, you know that this Conditional distribution of the density, which I will denote by pk k plus 1, okay, k plus 1, which is equals to p k plus 1 given k, it's k plus 1, given k, and the ratio, of course, of the ranking. Now all the game, that's yeah. You can see that here the main computational burden is that you don't really know the marginal pk and pk plus 1, right? Because they are in fact integral with respect to the ns minus 1 variable, so they are very hard to compute. And okay, now what we try to do is that okay, can we more or less try to approximate, okay, this try to learn in fact this Conditional distribution of xk given xk plus 1. Okay. So to do so, in fact, we'll try to simplify a bit the expression of pk given pk plus 1 by using Taylor approximation. And here response. To say that now, okay, all just justified again. So now, okay, if you lost, what we try to do is that we want to sample the backward, and if we assume that the distribution of x and s is exactly the 0, it just boils down to trying to get the condition of xk given xk plus 1. Okay. And here I will denote by my backward yk plus yk in the second. So just before, in fact, to try to approximate this condition distribution, we need to specify a bit the choice for the forward process. Okay, for my choice of my family of conditions pk plus 1 given k. Okay, and once, in fact, I have made my choice, okay, I will try to estimate. Okay, I will give you, in fact, I will simplify a bit the expression of the function of the backward, and using Taylor expansion, I will get, in fact, what is really SGM model. For the choice of pk plus 1 given k, okay, done there, and as I said before, okay, I will not try to do very smart here. So here I will take, in fact, I will not take a non-homogeneous Markov chain, I will just take a Markov chain, okay, and more exactly, okay, you could think about, and in fact it is done in most paper, but about using an autographic process. So that's the simplest example of homogeneous Markov chain will convert to the Gaussian distribution. But here, okay, just to simplify a bit my presentation afterwards. In fact, I take the continuous counterpart of this process, which is the Rashomon process, yeah, which I know converge to the Gaussian distribution. And I consider the nodes, the autoregressive process. I will consider, in fact, the Euler discretization of the OU process, which is the Markov chain here, defined by this regression, where gamma is my step size. So now, okay, if this Markov chain will not exactly target the Gaussian, but the Gaussian is the variance, which is identity divided by 1 minus gamma over 2. Okay, if gamma is actually smaller than 1. And okay, so here the convergence of this Markov chain to this Gaussian distribution is quite easy. You just, and in fact, I will do it later. I will do the computation later, but in fact, we can have an explicit expression of xk given, in fact, the starting points and the sequence of Gaussian nodes you have, and based on this explicit expression, it is very easy to show that, in fact, you converge at least reaching to this Gaussian distribution there. If gamma is small enough. All right. So now, okay, I have specified here my the sequence of xk I consider here. In particular, okay, it gives me the sequence of transition. More right here. We'll use it. And in fact, the condition is one. Okay. It's going to start with scale. And it's proportional to 1 minus scale plus 1 minus 1 minus scale square divided by 4. Yeah. And then. So now, okay, here you can plug this expression there, but still, okay, as I emphasized already, that's the main difficulty there. It's really that this marginal here are some complicated integrals that you cannot have access. They are untrackable integral. And okay, now the game is trying to approximate, okay, to make some approximation of this functional solution.
Yeah, that would be gamma. We said the gamma is beta, or is the gamma?
No, gamma will be in fact seen as small. But I will in fact coming to it so later. In fact, it's quite. In fact, the choice of gamma is very important, which I for the others, because in fact, in general, gamma is taken dependent with respect to the equation. And what you try to take the sequence of gamma, which is fine enough to the data distribution, or it's large in your solution.
You can go to a gas in well, because it's ability as a problem.
Yes, exactly. In fact, it's much more complicated, of course. In fact, it's called with also the learning process. As we try to learn from the data, and it's more complicated at the beginning, but it's at the end. But at the end, okay, you are almost notion. It's much more simple compared to the beginning.
Yeah, can I go back to the last slide?
Yes.
Certainly, say, and finalize the ID. What is the?
It's a normal Gaussian, it's a Gaussian distribution. It's a
Sorry.
It's a classical autoregressive process construction.
Sorry. I don't just know it's the division of the total. Maybe that we can.
So in fact, from what I've seen in the papers, but it does not make any difference in this decision, but it's not. Other question before I start the calculation.
Oh,
I can see
that's on the time stepping. I mean, I guess if you run a forward order in one direction, it comes in implicit order in the other direction. Right?
So it's
because you can swap the arguments and stuff like this. Formally, just replacing the arguments the extended order comes in implicit order.
yes.
And then the stability issue is actually gone, right? Of course, you then have to use an implicit method.
It's not in fact the implicit order. It's not complicated because here it's not really because here it's plus one. Of course, it's gamma. Okay, let's take constant variant. Yeah. So here now we should consider, okay, if you have xk plus 1, so here it's so you cannot it's not sure, at least to me, that's okay, xk, okay, it's almost the 6. Not that clear that xk will be given xk plus 1 will be an of the 6 general speed. Because it would not be linear with respect to the solution.
Yeah, no.
So that's not
Yeah, anyway, I mean, this is yeah, that's
okay, so let's try to simplify this expression there. So here, what I want to come up is a function. So here, in fact, in my computation, I will simplify a bit. Because what I want, I just want the conditional distribution of xk given xk plus 1, and I will develop by C a constant which may depend on xk plus 1. It will just be a normalizing constant. So I don't really care. So now, in fact, based on this observation, I can write this as C, a constant. Yeah, that's going on. And I will write first my choice of function density. minus plus 1 minus 1 minus gamma square divide this by 1 gamma. And now, in fact, since in fact I don't really care the constants with respect to xk plus 1, I can replace in fact pk plus 1 by pk. Does not work. That's my calculation. So here I can write it in logarithmic form. So it's plus log pk scale minus log pk plus 1. Sorry. Okay, xk plus 1. So now the idea is to simplify this quadratic norm. Okay. Now we want to replace xk plus 1 by xk, okay, because what we anticipate a bit, what would be ideal, will not be exactly the case, but what will be ideal is that in fact xk, okay, given xk plus 1 is almost also Gaussian. So here, in fact, we want to replace xk plus 1 by xk. We want to inverse, in fact, the role of xk plus 1 in xk. So to do so, in fact, I need to manipulate a bit the norm there. And here, okay, I can write that xk plus 1 minus xk. Voilà. As now xk plus 1 plus gamma, xk plus 1. Yep. Minus 2 gamma, xk plus 1 minus xk square. Gamma square, xk square minus xk plus 1. So all the game, why in fact I consider such a decomposition is that what I will assume. Okay. I will assume that in fact xk plus 1 minus xk is more or less the constant sign of the gamma. Now, based on this, why I'm quite happy with this decomposition, that's here, okay, if that's true. So here you can really see that xk plus 1 has more or less so 1 minus gamma xk plus sort of gamma some noise. So here you expect that, at least an expectation, it's okay. So now, based on this observation, I'm quite happy with this decomposition because it gives me, in fact, that it's this term here is an approximation of this term. So here, sorry, I forget the 1 minus gamma. So it gives me that this term there, okay, which replace in fact the role of xk and xk plus 1, is an approximation of this term up to order gamma square, which will simplify in fact with the 1 over gamma there, and still I have in fact an approximation up to order gamma in the exponential. So that's for the first term there. Okay, I will replace this term by this one. And now, okay, I need to deal with this term. Yeah. Okay. And for this term here, as I said, okay, we'll use some Taylor expansion. So here I can write log minus log. Yes. Yeah.
Why is the first term simple? It's a minus.
Yes, it's a minus. Sorry, where? Sorry.
One plus gamma, one minus gamma.
I know it's minus a minus.
So why is it simpler?
So because yeah, there's, as I said, okay, we want more or less. What would be ideal is that the distribution of xk given x plus one is also Gaussian distribution. Most would be the case. And to do so, in fact, I want to inverse the role of xk in xk plus one.
But this could have been done by just taking one line down outside and then.
Yes, but here you want it will not be that clear completely because you just have some remainder term. And otherwise, in fact, you will not have an approximation of order gamma and just an approximation of order one. That's why, in fact, you will need to introduce the 1 plus gamma there.
Well, you convert it again into an explicit order. And that has a first, as it is not for that one. Yeah. But I think if you would go to the implicit order, that would be no cancellation on that level.
That's true. Yes, I agree. Yeah. Thank you for
Sorry, I don't understand the thing. Can I explain a little bit more about what you mean by those? Well, we basically want, I mean, there are two steps in here, right? So you want to reverse the form of order discretization, which is sort of behind the backbone of that, the green ball of backbone now. I mean, if you pull down the backbone, I think then the discretization there. No, I mean, that, so that discretization there, Euler-Mariano. We want to reverse this in time, right? And if you formally do it, you get just to change. I mean, swap you make xk as a function of xk plus 1, then you get an implicit order with various scalings. And then, of course, it's forward back the same thing, but the formula down there is basically replacing Euler-Mariano in one direction by Euler-Mariano in the other direction. And so there's a discretization that this depends there.
That's and in fact, it will be the case also if you take the autoregressive process, because in this case, it's exactly the implicit, that's why. You're totally right. Okay. So, so now, okay, we can, other question before I start. So let's do some, so yeah, it's right, okay, it's yeah. Okay, this one. And I assume, okay, that everything is smooth, so I can just write this gradient. Okay. Scale this one. Okay. Because here, okay, I want to linearize with respect to xk, so to make I take the middle point xk plus 1. Xk minus xk plus 1 and plus the big O of xk minus xk plus 1. So now if I combine these two, okay, and use that's it is true, more or less. And of course, that's okay. It's good. Well, for instance, more or less. So here, if I combine these two and plug these two approximations there, I get that okay, we're going to get this one. Okay, we're going to get this one. Okay, the constant is xk plus 1. Times exponential. So here I have minus minus 1 plus gamma step plus 1. There, divided by 4 gamma. Here I have my linear term there. So here it's exactly plus gradients we get x squared plus 1. X squared minus x squared plus 1. And you know, since I have assumed this condition, I have a plus 3 4 together. So now, based on this remark, here I will pretend, okay, I will not to for my forward, for my backward, okay. I will replace, in fact, this expression for my backward as just, in fact, this term, and you can see that, in fact, this term gives you just that what we trying to have is that the conditional distribution of this k given k plus 1 is exactly a Gaussian distribution. Here, I can continue there. Yeah, k plus 1. Exactly, in fact, so here it's approximately up to the step size gamma. The estimated evolution distribution is mean around yes gamma. So here it's k. And so yeah, it's going to be plus gradient log pk. Let's get this one. And with variance to get my yes, yes. So here, in fact, so for so I can almost now sample from my backward. Okay, if I take that basis of take this approximation for the function density of k given k plus 1. Here, the main computational burden is that okay, we don't have access to the gradients of the log of pk.
The rate, I mean, the difference in the logs, right? These densities.
Yes.
That satisfies the backward form of right? I mean, you actually don't need the density, right? The ratio, the log of the ratio of the two densities evolving in time.
Yes.
You take time continuous limit, that's the backward form of Prof.
Yes.
Right, for the ratio.
Yes.
And that's what gives you the control, right?
Yes.
On the second part, like in the base division of row of k plus 1.
Yes, but here in fact I can. It seems I'm just interested in the conditional distribution of k given k plus 1, and I can write it as a up to a constant with respect to k plus 1.
That's why you need to row k on the second.
So yeah, in fact I can introduce artificial pk. It does not change. Okay, so other question. So now, okay, that's we have this approximation. So here, okay, there are of course some relation to AGB control and things like this. And but here, what we from a computational point of view, what's best done, and in fact, from what my perspective, Sebastian, in fact, it's all this boils down is trying to solve AGB for us, if you know. But here, okay, the computational burden, so it's mentioning AGB, that okay, you need to have access to the gradients of the log likelihood at iteration k. But here, in fact, what is known, at least what is taught in machine learning, is that in statistics, that's okay. Learning the score is simpler somehow than learning the density.
Is it really the log of the density or the ratio of some densities? The log of
no, here it's really the pk. Actually. You really want the gradient of the gradient of the score. of the marginal.
This is what he did right in the beginning, where you change the PK plus one and plus one, that's but that's why you don't have one.
Yes.
It's still not clear to me now why you were.
Because there you just have, you are interested in the condition solution of xk given xk plus one.
Yeah.
So here you can, it will just be a normalizing constant. Yeah. There's a normalizing constant of this density will depend in fact on xk plus one.
But I know what PK plus one is equal to the marginal above PK
Yes.
plus one is what
Oh.
I think. So PK plus one given PK times PK, so you're saying that likelihood is not.
Yes.
Oh, I think you have a 1 plus the.
Like gamma, yes, yes. On the,
No, wait, no, yeah, but you have a plus here, right?
yes.
So this part is actually unstable, right? Because you have a 1 plus, right? It should be a minus.
No, it's a plus.
No, but if you make it a minus, you
Yes.
get the ratio in here.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
And then you back to the standard control.
Yes. In fact, it's exactly the observation that we make with Joey and new behavior of us. We analyze in fact this process. It's exactly this.
Yeah, then you.
And then you go back to in fact the control of HG. So that's exactly. You could do the course instead of this. Okay, so I should Eric call me.
Where is he?
Okay, so maybe if I will just complete this before. So here you have so what it steps done is okay, trying to estimate the gradients of the likelihood. And in fact, it can be done by using score matching or slice matching, as we will see. And that's what we represent there. Okay. Sorry, hello. 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 Là, je suis en train de présenter, on est en séminaire pour 2. Yes, I will conclude quite quickly and that we can go for some break. Okay. So here now, okay, based on this observation, the condition of my backward process, I said is denoted by xk, is given with this Gaussian distribution, a conditional Gaussian distribution, and in here it just amounts to defining this process yk plus 1 equal to yk plus gamma yk plus 1 yk plus 2 gradient cloud of yk. So yeah, I'm going to 2 plus square root of 2 gamma zk. And as I said, okay, right, now the gradient of log of pk is intractable and we want to approximate using score matching. Yeah. And here, okay, maybe we can make 30 minutes, maybe 15-minute break because I have a lot to discuss. 20-minute break if that's okay for you, and go back. And I will continue. So how to in fact try to approximate the score then, and we conclude the first presentation of LGM. So see you in 20 minutes. Okay, so let's go again. So now, okay, let's try to we were at some point that I have defined the backward transition kernel, okay, which is supposed to be some Gaussian condition, right? And now, okay, as I said to you just before the break, the main computational burden is that okay, we don't have access to the score, okay, at iteration k, but Now, okay, we can try what is called score matching. Why? In fact, because you can express quite easily the gradient of the score with respect as an expectation, right? As in fact, I think at least half of you already seen the application of the Fisher identity. Let's do it again. Here. So if I consider, so I just use the gradients of the instead of the log okay. Okay, so it's grad instead of okay. Then divided by okay. 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 So now, in fact, I just use that PK. It's somewhere. I express PK as an integral, and I just inverse the integral of the gradients. So in that equals to the integral of the gradient with respect to K. So P 0 to K of x 0 to K. It's 0, so that's one. It's 0. Okay, it's a 0. It's a 0. And I divide the source like okay. And now I multiply and divide by the conditional expectation. Okay, and so at some point, so we simply the integral of the grad of the conditional. Zero. Zero, right inside. Okay. It's there. Zero. So here I just multiply and divide by P0 x 0 0, and here the gradient of the joint now is also the gradient of the conditional. And okay, now I want also to make appearance of the gradient of the log, and also it's not that hard. I just need to multiply and divide by also the conditional, and now it's simply the integral of gradient of the log of K. 0, stay 0. It's a 0. It's K. And this side. And now, okay, I can interpret this as an integral. Okay, it's simply the conditional applications of the grad log of okay given 0. No, it's okay. It's a 0 given instead of the grad small xk. Okay, so here I have a formula can express the gradient of the score as a conditional expectation. Okay. And based on this observation, okay, and I can use in fact the extra information that the conditional expectation is in fact minimizer of some function, okay, over all on variables. So here now I can express can just use that if U and Y are some unknown variables, right? And if I call this is the conditional application, it's a conditional application of U given Y. So I know that it's some function like Y and F.
I'm sorry, I can't read that with the
So if U and Y are two unknown variables,
right.
if Z is the conditional expectation of U and Y is, it's a function of Y, and in fact, this function of Y is exactly the argument over all measurable function is some class, and that's which minimize the expectation of G minus G of Y. So now, in fact, I have a variational, interpretation of the gradient of log of pk. Okay, and I can use, in fact, this variational interpretation, and in fact, trying to estimate this the gradient. So here, now, I can write. So here, I do not. I can. Based on this observation, I can write log of pk of x given. Exactly equals based on this interpretation to the conditional expectation of gradient log of pk given 0, it's given equal 0, given so now, what I know, based if I combine these two observations, that's now gradient log of pk dot is in fact equals to the argument of expectation of gradient log pk 0, say 0 minus g of x over all g. Now all the question which is left is that okay, can we now compare to pk, which has an intractable expression. Okay, it's an integral. Here now, okay, I can express quite nicely the conditional expectation of xk given x is 0. Okay, that's R. Okay, so here I also knew that I take for x plus 1 just the statization of the Stern-Langeback process, and so it's just 1 minus gamma x plus 12 of the gamma z plus 1, right? And now, okay, just by easy recursion, I did it in fact a large number of times, so I already know the results. So here it's just it's just amounts to multiply in fact the initial states by 1 minus gamma to the power k, it's 0. Now in fact I can iterate the random variables, and so here it's plus 2 gamma, the sum of 1 minus gamma I z k minus I, therefore I equals 0 to K. And so here it should be K plus 1 star. Now, based on this expression for xk plus 1, then I know in fact the function's distribution of xk given x0. It's just Gaussian distribution. So here, and that's in fact the distribution of xk given x0 is Gaussian, which means 1 minus gamma k x0. Plus, which I will call sigma k square identity, plus sigma k square is big to gamma to the sum of 1 minus gamma to I for I plus 0 to minus. So now, okay, based on this remark, I have an explicit expression for this density. It's just a Gaussian density with mean 1 minus gamma to for k x 0 and variance sigma k. So here I have an explicit expression for this function. And now I can try aim to estimate gradient of the score. I'm trying to estimate. Okay. To minimize this function for which I can have access to NBS estimates. Okay. So here, now, I'll consider the sequence as theta. Of theta, which will be my favorite network. And based on this parametric family of function, okay, I can try to approximate the gradient of k. So here as theta. Theta is trying to minimize from theta gives this expectation. So here I can simplify a bit based on the expression I have for the conditional distribution. So here, if I'm not mistaken, it should be minus, it's k minus 1 minus gamma 0 divided by 2 sigma k square, and here minus as theta. So here computing this expectation is still intractable because in fact here we take the expectation with respect to xk and x0, right? But here since you have some sample from so x0, therefore it's supposed to start from the data distribution. And xk is just the case iteration of my for-what process starting from x0.
Sorry, I'm lost.
Yes.
How do you actually get an estimation?
So yeah, that said, okay, so x0 you agree that case my non-homogeneous Markov process.
How do you get from there to there?
So here do you agree that's with this expression? Okay. So here it's over all function g such as g of xk is square integrable. Okay, but here you cannot hope to get all this class of functions. So here you restrict to a parametric class of function. And so I replace in fact and simplify this problem by trying to estimate theta. So here I just replace g by s theta. And I minimize over theta.
So as theta is g.
Yes. So here I parameterize. So here if I minimize over S theta is the same. That's minimizing over.
The expectation there over xk.
And it's a zero. Yes.
It's just x zero.
No, the truth.
So it's the expectation over the joint measure.
Yes.
Mean zero and.
Yes. So it's expectation over, okay, so data distribution and the case the rate of my forward process starting from.
The xk you will get, or the x you will get from the data.
Yes, exactly.
The xk you'll get by summation.
Yes, exactly. And so here, okay, it's an expectation with respect to the data distribution and the case iterate of my forward. Okay, you cannot of course compute the expectation with respect to some data, but you can have a Monte Carlo approximation of this expectation, and so here you just approach, you can just use in fact some empirical version of this function, and so here in fact in practice you just for them we might do the empirical function 1 over n, so the sum over n plus 1 n, it's there I minus minus 0, okay, it's a 0 I minus f theta, it's there I, where is it by?
So in what sense is this different from making a Gaussian mixture approximation to PK?
It's the same.
And then take the log and blah, 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 and then stuck it in there. Is that the same thing?
What do you? It's a Gaussian mixture. So
I mean, we know, I mean, you have a data distribution at 0, and then you run your STE, linear STE backward in time.
forward.
So for
Depends.
several steps, right?
Yeah.
Forward or backward? Forward, is it forward? It's forward, right? It's forward, okay, forward. And so you have an empirical distribution, and then you apply your Euler Mariana. And then so that at any time, then it's a Gaussian mixture. Distribution is a Gaussian mixture of your forward ST. Right? It's just the sum of, I mean, the Dirac deltas get turned into Gaussians.
Yes.
And so it's a sum of these Dirac deltas turned into Gaussian. So it's a Gaussian mixture.
Yes.
So that's the PK.
Yes.
That's the analytic PK. There's no approximation of that point.
It depends. Here you.
Well, I mean,
it's
okay.
It's here it's a particle approximation of PK. It's not.
Well,
exactly.
given your data.
Given your name, it's.
Given your data, and starting from your data, which is an empirical distribution,
Yes.
right? Then you run it forward, so you get a Gaussian mixture.
That's.
Say again?
With the number of Gaussians equal to the number of your data.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
So it's not. No, yeah, it's. It's yeah, it's you consider you consider a particular approximation of PK, but it's yes, it's a particular approximation of PK if you want.
Right, but that's not giving you the same. You then take the grad log of that.
No, it's not give you exactly this is the rewriting of matching the Gaussian mixture.
Yes, yeah, you can write it this way. Yes.
But we know that Gaussian mixtures don't work very well on high dimensions.
But I think that's the key, that the Gaussian mixture is talking about it will increase the size of Gaussian from increasing the data points. This one will not. The S theta, I assume.
So in
Yeah,
fact,
yeah,
I
then
don't
you
see.
take the
In fact, I don't.
I mean, if you have something bad, you approximate. Then
I'm not sure, in fact, why, in fact, it will be a Gaussian mix.
I mean, it's talking about the case where you don't say you start in the true data generating distribution.
But here it's just a particular approximation. You can see it as a particular approximation as well.
But then on the density level, it will just be because everything will evolve into one Gaussian. So if you have a multiple of them, you will have multiple Gaussian. So I mean, you have an analytical form for the empirical, like the population kind of drift attemptee, right? If you just have n data points, I think this is the much.
yeah, but I don't think it's the same what's written there. You would get something different, right?
No, it's
Yes, this is this developing score matching, not rewriting. Okay. So we could have just written the empirical Gaussian mixture. You could write this as empirical Gaussian mixture minus as data, and then matching it with the functional approximation. Right?
Okay. Yes, that's also a thing.
But then again, I mean, we know that Gaussian mixtures don't work at high dimensions. As an
So
approximation. I mean, you basically have two
But here you,
approximations.
but here you don't really want to. I would say okay, the Gaussian mixture in high dimension is. But I'm not sure that you really fit the Gaussian mixture there. You don't try to fit the Gaussian mixture. You want to learn the score. It's a big difference.
Yeah. So in my perspective, okay. So the way I think about it is, you have the true distribution, and then you have, but you don't have that. You only have the, data points.
Yes,
So the empirical approximation. Now you could compute red log PK, starting the real thing would be where to know the data distribution, and then you can write everything down analytically, and then you could still approximate it by a score function, but that would be fine. But then you don't have the true data generating distribution, you only have samples. So then you have an approximation of red log PK in the first step that comes from replacing the true data distribution by your empirical measure. And then doing everything from there on exactly. And that gives you a Gaussian mixture. And that approximation goes in there already. So that's where
No, that's why where they approximate it as a Gaussian mixture, it's not really sure that it's why you say that
well, I think when
approximate
you,
the Gaussian.
okay, so in here, I think if you were to use the true data distributions here,
Yes.
then you would be doing what I said initially. You would have the real thing,
Yes.
but now you make this empirical. So I think implicitly what it means that you replace this here by what comes out of the Gaussian mixture approximation. And so that replaces this approximation step going from the in X naught at least from the true distribution to the empirical distribution, because this expectation is an empirical expectation, not the true expectation. So that's the first approximation that comes in. And the second approximation comes in when you then say, okay, well, I then take some sort of functional form to which you fit it. And that's where the expectation of xk comes in. Is that picture correct, or am I wrong there? And all I'm trying to say is, when the first approximation step is already bad, why can the second step fix it?
I'm not sure.
So my question is, why is that?
Well, I just intuitively, I think kernel density estimation in high dimensions just doesn't work.
Yeah, you don't do a kernel estimation that might. You learn. So
Right.
that's,
I mean, that's always implicitly, as I said. I mean, what I'm trying to say, implicitly it's there. You don't, in the end, you estimate the red log density, not the density itself. I agree,
yes.
but hidden in there is a density estimation. And so, and the kernel density estimate, and that doesn't work well in high dimensions. Maybe it fixes it because you only look at the red log density. Maybe it's fixed by the second approximation when you go to the score function. I mean, the S function. That's possible. But as I said, in between there's a step that's sort of.
No, but I agree that okay, if you just take a statistical point of view, I agree that okay, the dimension will be there. Okay, it's going to be the same as density estimation could be very, very bad.
Exactly.
But okay, what I saw in fact is much more efficient to try to estimate the score.
No, I totally agree with you that red log density estimation is much better than density estimation.
But in the so I agree with you that in the worst case, okay, it's the same. Exactly the same.
Sorry, my question actually still remains. By bad, what metric you're using for that bad is?
No, because in fact, if you look at the statistical analysis of kernel method in dimension, it's exponentially that.
Okay.
So it's
So to make it converge, you need samples which grow exponentially in the dimension of your.
yeah.
Say again?
Can I estimate how many max optimal? So you think that estimating the density is intensity. Yeah. So, but in fact, that's why in fact the main. Yes, that's why the drawback I mentioned that in fact there is no statistical analysis. That's
Right.
in fact that's the equation.
Exactly, I think that's exactly, yes. But another perspective from machine learning is that generating it's easy because you can have a lot of potential options. You only need to generate something that makes sense. It doesn't have to be good necessarily. So that's that. So it's not really you don't really care about, you don't necessarily care about having a really good estimation, as long as can make it work. So,
Yeah, but at some point you would like
so
something.
that's machine learning.
Yes, exactly.
That's something. I think statement of machine learning. I honestly haven't done that's picture to look at. That you're good. I don't really care.
I will not comment on this.
Yeah.
Continue. Okay. So it's and in fact the estimation of the score. Okay. I will conclude here. Yeah. Why? Okay. Okay, it was yes. Okay, so in fact I already written a lot on the board, so I will be quite fast on my slide. So here, yeah, as I said, there's this I write the gradient as a conditional expectation. So here I make appear the gradient of the log of the conditional. Still intractable, but okay, the conditional expectation is not. And so here is a empirical loss function that you consider in trying to estimate this gradient of the score, the core function. Okay, so that's just what I wrote already on the board. I just use the score, this minimizer over all function in L2 of pk. Yeah, and I just replace pk by parametric family of function minimize over parametric of function. Okay. And with also another also expression for this expectation there, okay, which can be so here in fact if you use this loss function, it is called Denoising score matching. Okay, and so you can also consider, you can also express in fact gradient of log pk as, so you can just you can in fact simplify, not simplify, but have another expression for this expectation there. It's not that hard. It comes and it will give you another estimator for gradient of log pk. So in fact the trick is simply to write the expectation of gradient pk 0 given is 0 minus v of x squared. So here, in fact, I just want to keep tracks of the term. I will develop the square, and I will just keep tracks of the term with respect to g. So in fact, I can write this function of g as the expectation of v of the square. Okay. And it gives me, in fact, the first the first term in my other expression for gradient of pk, and plus minus 2 times the expectation of the scalar product between gradient of pk 0, scale is given to 0, and the scalar product with respect to g of x squared plus some constants, okay, which does not depend on j. And now, okay, in fact, I can work a bit and rewrite this expectation by just using an integration by parts. Here, the expectation of gradient given it's 0, it's given it's 0, g of each k. Okay. So here, as I said before, the expectation with respect to x k and x 0. So here you can write it as the integral of, so here forget the gradients. So here is simply the gradients of log x 0, x k given x 0. It's k, and the joints, it's p0 k, it's 0 x k, it's 0 x k. Now, okay, I can just use an integration by parts, and by using an integration, I can simplify a bit there first. I can rewrite it as the integral of gradients p k given 0, k given x 0, v of xk, and the denominator, which will be pk given 0, okay, simplified with the joints, simplified in integral here. In respect to x0, 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 xk. And now if I make an integration by part, simply also minus the integral of x0, xk, x0, p0, x0, the divergence of g, xk. It's zero. Okay, so here, and now I recognize the joints. Okay. And at the end, in fact, this expectation of the function of j just boils down to minimize, in fact, okay, the function which from, okay, so here I mixed f and g, but it's a function from f, which gives the expectation of f of norm of f of x square, 1/2, okay, which corresponds to this term there, and the second term, which is exactly this term. Yes.
This trip, don't you need to take the derivative of p0 as well?
No, because here you take it's the gradient with respect to xk and not x0 each time. Yes, yeah. So so that's a good remark. The gradient is each time with respect to xk. So I start at some point with x gradient of xk, but notation is satisfied.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we have another expression of gradient of another rational expression for the gradient of the score. Okay, and we can use it, okay, to design a new estimator, okay, based on this family of function s theta, and gives, okay, what is called the implicit score matching, or yes. Okay, what's can be quite hard, okay, computationally easy to compute there. So even if you consider the Monte Carlo, the empirical approximation of this loss, so here what can be easy that you need to compute the divergence of f. Let's see that, okay, here you take the divergence, yeah, of a neural network. It can be quite easy. And what people have suggested is that to replace, in fact, the divergence by also Monte Carlo estimator, okay, by relying on what is called the Hutchinson estimator, okay, which is more or less, okay, some kind of finite approximation of the divergence.
people using this? I mean, that's being used and, or is that-
Yeah, I've seen some code which use it. At least.
yeah. Because in my experience, the implicit small matching doesn't work well in high dimensions either.
I mean, there is some, yes, as I said, it's, I see some code.
I mean, he tried it in some other slightly different, I mean, related context, with multiple operator. It works beautifully in low dimension, but in high dimension.
Yes.
Also.
But for example, if you use the stable diffusion, you can thinking about using so stable diffusion, the dimension is lower, so that's that.
So by high dimension, how high is that? About 8. I mean, basically what we try to do is to solve an SDE, replacing the noise by the grand log density term. Right, so you make an interacting particle system and trying to solve the Planck equation deterministically with particle method. And that's where we also have to estimate the grand log density from the particles we have, which are moving around. So they were actually propagated by the dynamics themselves. And in low dimensions, it works beautifully, but in I mean, anything like 6, 8 dimensions, it's not on a
Okay.
But I also, I mean, I think the consensus is also in the diffusion community that the ISM doesn't work very well. And then
Okay. So now, okay, based on this, so it was just for estimate. So here I present all this estimation for the iteration k. Okay, so that's now okay. Wants to estimate NS score. Okay, but instead of instead of relying on one function, yeah, we just in fact also rely on function which is which take into account in fact somehow the temporal point of view of pk. So here, as I said, okay, pk will correspond to the marginal distribution of the Hochstein-Lebesgue process, the discretization of the Hochstein-Lebesgue process at time k gamma. Okay. So here, what's you consider a total loss. Okay. So we try to estimate the case score. So you jointly, in fact, try to learn the score by taking as input also the iteration where you are. And based on this observation, we can considering either the DSM or ESM, the joint loss, okay, which is here, or the just sum, it's a weighted sum of the individual loss, okay, where for the score function, okay, for the estimator, you take the function, okay, at time k gamma, and as the second variable, okay, the instead. So in fact, that's related, okay, so to your comments, because here, okay, you have that, okay, you weight differently with respect to the number of iterations, and more or less, what can be shown is that in fact it's almost boils down to changing also the distribution. Because here, in fact, you have the 2 sigma k square here. And if you change the discretization with respect to the state, to the iteration, in fact, the sigma k, in fact, enter into the lambda k, and so it's equivalent. So in fact, you take this, so taking, in fact, the larger lambda k at the beginning, was then taking the smaller step size at the beginning.
But you don't actually have a mistake. You just it's just that it became.
Yeah. And not for this.
And so there is a kind of normal price. It's not different. You don't learn a different network for each step, more or less share what it's. And but achieve the equation because in the video of the school.
Good, thanks. So here, in fact, is the overall loss that you put into your PyTorch implementation, and you try to optimize. Okay, and at the point it gives you, in fact, the family of score you can use in your backward process and simulate your backward process and get your generative models. Okay. So pretty much that's it. So the summarization. So here we start with the forward process, okay, based on this, based on the forward decomposition. Based on the now we can also get the backward. We consider, in fact, the backward decomposition. We get from now the Gaussian to the data distribution. But okay, since in fact this backward transition kernel are intractable to approximate this backward transition kernel by some Gaussian distribution where it appears the gradient of the score, but you itself learn based on the score matching. And now, once in fact you have learned the score function, okay, you have learned theta star, which is your data, you just generate new samples by starting from your Gaussian distribution, follow your backwards process, okay, using the score that you have used, and that's concluded, in fact, the computation of SGN. And I will continue, in fact, this afternoon, okay, because I discussed with Eric. I think it's already time. I have still a lot of material, so I will continue this afternoon instead of here. That's okay. So thank you very much, and see you at 2. Just a quick announcement. Okay, so Eric was asked maybe to propose, in fact, a special issue physical transaction A. Okay, so we are thinking, in fact, to Eric to maybe after this deep dive propose, in fact, a special issue about the generative model and inverse problem. So if you would like to join in this collaboration, just send us an email. We can start the process. Okay. Okay, so let's go on again. So here now, okay, I will make some comments about another interpretation of SGM, which is based on a paper by Song and Herman, which is one of the papers I already mentioned at the beginning with. And in fact, they present the method by it's very realistic. It's based on some intuition and not very mathematical derivation compared. Okay. So what I've presented this morning, it's already okay. There are a lot of approximation, but okay, so we could follow somehow the computation, at least to me. But here it's really some intuition, and I hope that you will get more or less the same, the idea behind, in fact, this interpretation. So here the first observation, the paper by Song and Herman, is that okay. Here, let's pretend that we have access to the true score, okay, the gradient of the log of the density of my observation, P star. If we would have, in fact, this score there, okay, we could theoretically apply score matching, okay, try to directly estimate the score, okay, just by using this. That's also the solution. We could also use it. Okay, it's this following this variational interpretation there, where okay, F should be L2 P star. And okay, first trying to estimate the score of the observation, and based once you have estimated the score using score matching or DSM or DSM, use your approximation, okay, inside the Langevin algorithm, Okay, so here I hope that everyone there know about this scheme. That okay, if you have access to the gradient of potential, okay, you can just simply try to discretize the Langevin diffusion. And here I take the simplest discretization, and here you just define a Markov chain xk, and xk plus 1 equals xk plus gamma Poynting club of p star xk plus square root of 2 gamma zk plus 1. And here, okay, the step size is small enough. Okay. Your Markov chain has an invariant distribution which is quite close in some sense to the target, which has density p star. Okay. So based on this observation, why not try directly to estimate the score and use the Langevin diffusion? But the author mentioned that which does not work very well in practice, okay, because in fact, okay, here if you consider, so let's pretend that we are in a 2D example there, and I have a lot of observation. I have the distribution in this concentrated on these 2 points there. Okay. Meaning that okay, you have only observation from these two points. Then if you want, based on this observation only on these 2 points, okay, you will be able to estimate accurately the score intuitively only in the region where you have some observation. So here, you try just to approximate the score based on this observation there. Okay, you have more or less accurate estimation close to the observation, but far from the observation, the estimation will be not very accurate. Okay. And okay, it's the same. It's the same story. And
so a lot in this context that you estimate out there, you write it as grad log p star. But if you do the computation, it's actually not clear that it's actually a gradient or something, right? You really approximate the gradient approximate by a function, but the function not necessarily the gradient or something, right?
That's
whether it's gradient. So because the energy based model, if you think about the expression minus energy,
yeah,
whether these gradients correspond to energy based model, exactly, you have to do something to ensure that.
Exactly. But is that an issue here? I mean, is this related to the pure accuracy?
to be honest, I'm not sure. I don't see. In fact, I saw some work which try, in fact, to instead of using directly a score, but deriving directly a function. Okay, but it does not work that well apparently. So it's quite. Maybe in fact the architecture is quite maybe too silly or something like this, but the naive implementation at least does not work. So it's okay. So here in fact you face 2 issues. Besides the fact that okay, you have a bad approximation of the score based on your observation, that even okay, if you would have a good estimation of your score, if you would have in fact exactly the score, you have a bimodal target there, and if you know a bit about the Langevin diffusion, you can not really hope to get through this mode there. So in fact, at least when I was young, I tried okay, in 1D, just a mixture of 2 Gaussian in 1D, just separated by 5. Okay. And I wait for 2 days, I only see 1 mode. So yeah, okay, you cannot really hope that it pass between these 2 modes because okay, it's really related to the mixing property of the Langevin diffusion, which is very bad in the case of mixing modality. So now, okay, the main remark and idea now of Song and Herman is okay. Let's try to noise a bit my target distribution. So in that case, okay, you can see that here the resulting target is a bit more flat. Okay, it is still by model, but less concentrated. Okay. So it would be easier, in fact, to sample from the Langevin diffusion. It would have the exact score. Okay, so it will help you in respect to the Langevin diffusion, but it will also help you, okay, in the estimation of the score. So basically, okay, you have the best, you have the best of the two worlds, but in the same time, okay, you have a trade-off, meaning that here, if you do it naively, okay, you will take very large variance, okay, you will noise with a very large variance your data distribution, and then in fact, the resulting density, sigma, will be very, very far, of course, of the true density. Okay, so now you have a trade-off, okay, meaning that for small value of sigma, it will be very difficult to evaluate, to estimate the score, and the Langevin diffusion will not be that efficient. But okay, the resulting noisy distribution will be a bit closer than P, compared to taking a large value of sigma, which okay, helps you in the estimation of the score and something, but you are very far from the target P star. So the idea is that now, okay, you know that the idea now is to bridge somehow, in fact, this density there. Meaning that, okay, now you take, in fact, the sequence of variance here, sigma t, and you will go, okay, naively backward, okay, so here, in fact, I didn't show it up here, but okay, you will start from the question, so you will start by estimating the score and using the Langevin diffusion for the variance, which is very large. Yeah. Now, okay, based on this, on your first estimate, on your first sample from this first phase, you will use, in fact, the resulting sample, okay, as a starting point for the second phase, okay, where you use the score evaluated for a variance which is sigma 2, which is smaller than sigma 3. Okay. We will start now the Langevin diffusion for this variance and goes on, okay, for at least a smaller variance and etc. etc. Okay. So that's practically what the author calls the naive procedure. Okay. And so here is the overall algorithm. And that it is almost, I said almost the algorithm which I present you this morning. So here I consider a sequence of temperature or variance, sigma t, okay, from 1 to ns. So ns will be, as this morning, my number of steps. And now based on this sequence of temperature, I consider now my non-homogeneous, as this morning, non-homogeneous Markov chain, okay, which will be my noisy process. But here, okay, sigma t square minus sigma square t plus 1 minus sigma t square will correspond to my increment in my process. Okay, so it will be just, okay, the gamma this morning. Okay, and here I don't take an autoregressive process. Okay, consider just pure on a walk. Based now on this non-homogeneous Markov chain, I try to learn, in fact, the score, okay, related to the variance sigma t. Okay, so because here, by design, right, the distribution of xt will correspond exactly to the convolution of the Gaussian distribution with variance sigma t and the data distribution, right? So now, based on my forward, I can estimate my score, okay, based on the loss which I just introduced this morning. Okay, the story was the same, and using also some weighted function lambda t, okay, because okay, you want somehow to put more weights at the beginning because learning the score near the data distribution is more complicated. And now you end up with and taking your favorite parametric family function or your favorites neural network. You can try to learn this the corresponding score. Okay. And meaning that here I want to learn for any t, finite log of pt, which would correspond to st dots. So now, yes, yes. So here I just now you optimize, okay, this. So here I just replace f by s theta, and now I have a function of theta, and I want to optimize theta. So here it goes. Okay, so once you have in fact estimated theta, here you can correct a bit, in fact, the score diffusion model which I presented you before this morning, meaning that okay, instead of using one step of Gaussian diffusion, here what's if you follow the scheme which I presented you this morning, okay, here you just follow the backward process YT, right, based on the score you've learned. But if you think with respect to the Gaussian diffusion, okay, an idea would be in fact to maybe it's better to use several steps of the Gaussian diffusion since you have learned the score. So the main difference is, okay, compared to the algorithm I presented this morning, is that okay, here I have learned my score, okay, S theta, based on my forward process, and now instead of just taking k, big K equals 1, okay, so here it will be exactly the backward process I presented you this morning. Here I in fact do a linear loop here, where I use several times inside the Langevin algorithm to try, in fact, to be closer to the target density, which will be P sigma T. Okay. So somehow, okay, the author presented as a corrector space, corrector step, okay, compared to the first algorithm which I presented you this morning. So here, okay, you the gamma T there, it's simply in fact the difference is the variance. Okay, so this is the case where you want to consider fixed step size sigma T squared, then it's only T times gamma. Okay. And here, okay, the only difference compared to this morning is that here, okay, here it corresponds to not using the discretization of the Einstein process, but just simply using the discretization of the Brownian motion. Okay. And in this case, okay, the target distribution is not the Gaussian distribution, but somehow a Gaussian with a very, very large variance. That's basically what is used in practice. Okay.
Can I repeat the last sentence you said?
So here, in fact, this morning I presented you that he wants to design a Markov chain which, in fact, transports the data distribution to the Gaussian distribution. And here, okay, what such a process is an AR process or the specification of an Einstein process. Here, in fact, when you see the forward process there, it just corresponds to now the Brownian motion, starting from your data distribution. But now, okay, if you just follow the Brownian motion, they don't have really an invariant distribution. Okay, if you take a Brownian motion, okay, it is not ergodic. So you don't have an invariant distribution, but what people say that's okay. Everybody knows that's okay. So approximate target distribution of the Brownian motion with the Lebesgue measure. Okay. And so you take in fact the uniform distribution over you take it over a cube in fact which is quite large. Or in fact the Gaussian is a large variance. Oh. So here in fact with this interpretation, okay, where in fact you try to you try in fact to target somehow you try to target incrementally the sequence of distribution P sigma T, okay, for an increasing sequence of variances. And to do so, okay, you try first to learn the score, okay, and then once the score is learned, okay, you just follow the Lorentz diffusion. You start the Lorentz diffusion at iteration t, starting from the previous sample from P sigma t plus 1. Okay. And you hope that okay, P sigma t plus 1 is not that far to P sigma t, and that's why in fact it's better than to directly try to sample from P sigma t for a very small t.
Oh, in fact, you can initialize an arbitrarily, right? I mean, that's the difference to the previous.
It depends if you take, but
really have to.
Yeah, but in fact, in general case, that's not. It's you cannot take very large. If you have someone you have to trade off, which is not can. Because I would agree with you that okay, you could start.
Well, no, I mean, step 2, initialize. I mean, you can pretty much do anything there, right?
It depends if, of course, K is large enough.
Sure. So, you're assuming some sort of mixing, right? So,
yes, but that's
case. I mean, if sigma NS is large enough, then I suppose it's well mixing, right? So
it's because the score here you don't really know the property of the score. So okay, if K is large enough in principle, okay, this Markov chain would be well mixing. I agree with large variance, but if K is not that large, at least you try to yes.
Basically, I think you getting a slight. I mean, you get a bit more robustness here with this kind of scheme, right? Because you can, by making K larger,
exactly.
You can compensate for mistakes you made.
Yes. That's why in fact in this step is called the corrector step. That's exactly. Okay. Other question before continuing? Okay, so that's I need the algorithm which was proposed by Song and Arman. Yes, so
sorry, I also have a question actually about wording.
Yes.
So the second bullet point there is a discoordination of the broad emotion, not a more shy process. What's the difference between broad emotion and the later process?
Yes, it's like a manual, in fact, maybe. Yes. So here's the equivalent process is simply the SDE. It was minus it's alpha XP VT plus sigma. And here's so if you just discretize this equation is K plus 1 1 minus alpha gamma plus sigma gamma like that with 1. There was ZK in the sequence of I and D. Now, if we just discretize the Brownian, so here in this case, reference process is XT plus BT. In this case, it's a pure random walk. That's not the discretization is simply XT plus XT plus sigma gamma. Okay, so now some implementation details and things, which I would say half of them, in fact, it's what I've read, to be honest. Okay, so here we'll discuss a bit about the choice of the step size, but we have already a bit discussed this morning, and in particular, it's a weight interloss function. Apparently, what is quite important is also the exponential moving average rate. Okay. And here, okay, I would maybe conclude a few words and continue something in classic failure of guidance. So here, as I said to you, and already emphasized this morning, that in general you take, so taking in fact a sequence of discrete steps which depend on the iteration of, in fact, taking the some weights in the loss is almost equivalent. Okay, but here to simplify a bit, in fact, the presentation and the intuition, let's take a sequence of discretization steps which I denoted by gamma k. Okay, what has been proposed to use is some linear schedules, okay, which in fact incorporate the fact that okay, you want to be very precise near the data distribution. So here gamma k for k small will be small, okay, but for k large, okay, it will be in fact gamma max here. So gamma max of course is larger than gamma min. And here are some okay different choice of in fact. So here you can play in fact between gamma max and also the number of iterations you want to make. Okay, so here of course you have a lot of parameters to tune, but that's how it works. So it's really emphasize that in practice, indeed, you estimating the score near the data distribution is a challenge. Also, just to give you another observation, which in fact, take your time.
Yeah, is this a very theoretical base?
Not behind this,
or is it for
to my knowledge, not possible. There are in fact a lot of experimental paper which they try to see what is the right schedules. And yes, we discussed in fact with Maxence this problem just last week, and it's the answer is not that clear. Okay, so just to so I take in fact
I mean, it's the whole thing is a bloody nightmare, right? Because I mean, Euler Maruyama is known to be unstable in general, right? I mean, unless you have really nice properties of your trip function, right?
yes.
And nothing of this sort will hold here, I think. So there's always a chance that your scheme will blow up, essentially, right?
It's not, in fact, this problem, which I think is complicated, is more the statistical problem. That's now what is the assumption on the data distribution, which gives you the right sequence of step size? Because it's more related, in fact, the choice of step size is more related to the learning of the score compared to the property.
It's not a stability issue, it's an accuracy issue.
Yes, yeah.
I would think it's a stability issue.
No, it's really the estimation is a nightmare. As you said this morning, you know,
what's the difference? What's the difference between the accuracy and the stability?
Well, I mean, if you look at the time stepping method, you need sort of to have convergence. You need sort of a local accuracy in each time step that you have local accuracy. Then you also need a sort of stability quantity. That means that the errors don't overlap back if you do that with some steps. So, and you know, sometimes it's more stability issues, sometimes it's more accuracy issues. But I mean, anyway, so it's we can discuss it.
yes, but in fact, to me at least, because here, in fact, if you assume some uniform accuracy on the score, you can see that okay, the discretizing is not that it's not bad. It's really but and in fact when you see the analysis, at least what we have currently do, that is taking in fact uniform step size or non-uniform step size, then it does not change at all the results. It's really the accuracy that's okay. We assume some strong conditions that okay, you are epsilon close to the strong score. And if you assume this, in fact, at least for our analysis, we cannot see the difference. But yes, it's a very interesting question, and for in fact, it's the subject of current work. Okay. So here I take the opportunity to also give you another interpretation of the learning step of the score there. In fact, here what you can, which in fact I didn't really take the time this morning, but in fact when you if you write, in fact, if you sorry, I can take this there, and I will use it also afterwards. So here I just said to this, as I wrote to you this morning, okay, you can always write xk as 1 minus gamma into 0, so 1 minus gamma to the power k plus sigma k square z. So here it's z k plus 1. We can just by a simple recursion, okay, you can just write xk in low. It's simply 1 minus gamma k it's a 0 plus sigma k square. Now sigma k square is some sum of 1 over gamma to some power I, so 2 gamma times the standard Gaussian distribution that adds k plus 1. And here, in fact, in my definitions there, I just define that k plus 1 as xk minus 1 minus gamma k equal 0 over sigma k, and here I don't have the squares. So here, in fact, zk at corresponds to the noise you have injected, okay, to your data. And so here now, if you define z at k plus 1 okay, with this definition, and you replug this expression with the expression of the gradient of the score, okay, of the conditional score, you obtain that exactly, in fact, the gradient of the conditional score is exactly equals to minus z at k over sigma k, okay? And here minimizing, in fact, this loss just boils down to trying to estimate the noise based on xk. Okay. So that's why, in fact, it is also called denoising score matching. Okay, that's in fact you try to, in this procedure there, you want to eradicate the noise, okay, from your data. But you do it, okay, not naively, you do it incrementally, okay, by smaller and smaller steps. Okay, so that's one other interpretation, in fact, of score generative models. Okay, so here it's for this amplification. So also with this, the score that is given there, okay, which is the sum of lambda k, ds, and k. I will, in a few slides, I will present you another interpretation based on rational autoencoder, where you exactly get the same score. Yeah. And you can, in fact, justify a bit the role of lambda k, also as trying to optimize the choice in the elbow, which I present you in a few slides. And that, okay, to conclude, but I already make that clear. I think that's, in fact, choosing different choice of lambda k consists in choosing different choice of the step size for the nodes. More or less equivalent.
So do you do it in a way so that the noise never remains the same? I mean, you choose a lambda, so you compensate the sigma effect. Because as sigma becomes very small, you're blowing up the noise, right? So
Yes,
there's a lot of
exactly.
noise
Yes,
there.
also yes. And so here you compensate, of course, in fact,
And
yes.
then
You
you
stabilize,
slam that-
yes, you
yes.
stabilize, you stabilize, otherwise, in fact, you have different,
Okay, right.
you have different scales and that eclipses. Also, so exponential moving average, so apparently, that's a trick that should be used, is that in fact you cannot update directly the weight of your neural network, because in fact, in the learning process, it is quite unstable. Okay, and in fact, it's in other scheme, in fact, it's also even for 20 in neural network, it is frequently used. In fact, you average more you don't take directly the one iteration of your stochastic gradient descent and your ability from scratch the parameter of your network. You take more, in fact, an average of the parameter of your network incrementally. And in fact, okay, you have also it's not completely, in fact, this exponential average. You have, in fact, a forgetting scaling, meaning that okay, you're taking an exponential average just over some window, okay, which has to be appropriately tuned. And so, okay, so taking in fact this kind of average, it's really helps in the training of the network to learn the score. So here I will also be quite quick. So here, in fact, as you mentioned, Sebastian, already, that in fact you can think as adding some Langevin step as some correctance step, okay, which in fact stabilize the algorithm compared to just using just one step. So that's just the slide which we already talked about. Okay, so also which has been suggested in some papers, that's okay, based now on generative model, you can incorporate maybe more information about your data, particularly if you want to generate image. Okay, what you can try is that, okay, let's assume that you have some data associated with some label, which I call it C there. What you can try to do is that more than in fact try to learn the gradients, directly the score of the data distribution, more in fact trying to estimate the score of the conditional distribution of your data, given that okay, it is in some class, okay. And to do so, in fact, you just want more or less to replace to take your network by a network which takes as inputs the class that you want to generate as well. Okay. So that's called a conditional score matching. Okay. And here, okay, you have so here is some it helps in fact in generation of image quite a lot. And okay, there are some improvement in some paper made in these two references. So if you want to discuss, I will not take the time, but if you want to discuss, I have read this paper and we can discuss a bit because there are some tricks in the implementation of this conditional sampler. It is not that easy as it seems to be. Okay. So other approaches. So here, as I promised, I will give you in fact two other interpretation of score generative models, which are in fact based on directional autoencoder. I will try to interpret score generative model as a particular type of variational autoencoder. It's a well-designed variational autoencoder based on one of the original paper. And I will conclude by some interpretation using reciprocal process and of Langevin diffusion. Okay, so that's So the approach which I consider there is, in fact, the approach given in this reference by O and co-author. And this approach, in fact, has been followed in a bunch of work which extend and improve the basic methodology of O and co-author. In particular, in fact, it has been, in fact, as a core of optimization scheme for the step size. Okay, but it is very empirical, of course. Here. And you can also, based on this variational autoencoder approach, you can also try to learn, in fact, the covariance matrix which appears in the Schneider index, because here we always here add the covariance matrix in front of the Brownian motion. That's what's proposed in this reference. And also gets also bursts to some methodology where you don't use necessarily, in fact, Markovian dynamic. Okay, so let's try, in fact, to derive SGM based on variational autoencoder. So I hope that you know a bit about variational autoencoder, but here the idea is to take, in fact, the family of density, okay, P theta, and model your data distribution based on this variational family. So here, P0, there will be P star, will be the density of my data distribution. So here, that's P star, and now somehow, okay, I want to parameterize, I want to have a parametric family of density which models my data distribution. And here, okay, I take the lattice variable models here. So this just to take log 0, x 0 as a marginal of Markov models with latent variables. So here I just log the integral of log of theta 0 to ns of x 0 to ns. This is outside, of course. X 0 and so here, for the choice of P theta, I will be more precise later on, but let's assume that I take here the latent variable model, which at the end will be only Markovian models, meaning that I will be able to factorize as the first part of the talk this J density as product of conditional, and here in fact the product will be backward, because here it will consist of the distribution of the backward process. So here now you would like, let's assume that P theta is given, and now okay, I want to maximize the log likelihood there. And to maximizing the likelihood, okay, I can think about sampling and consider a family of instrumental density. So here I consider 2 phi of x1 and s, and I will amortize it with x0. So here it's a fixed variational, what is called variational family. And I will assume, in fact, that this family is very simple to sample from, and I know exactly some explicit expression for this density. So will not be surprised. It will be some Gaussian, of course, densities. So, but here is it will be a Gaussian density, but it will be in fact it corresponds to the distribution of my forward process given X is 0. So now based on my variational family, I can add and multiply and divide by this this density for a fixed phi. So here is mod of the integral of theta and s s divided by phi 1 and s it's 1 and then divided to 0. 5 1 and s 1 and s it's 1 and
Yes, the first line, it should be 1 NS.
yes, I think it's I put it right here. So yes, it was right there. Not sorry. Yes, that's thank you. Okay. So now, okay, you cannot expect, in fact, to maximize this function as theta again, okay? Because in fact, evaluating the gradient of the log of an integral is complicated, but what is more convenient is if you are used to n, is in fact more to maximize the integral of a log. And here for this, you just use the Jensen inequality. And to have a minimalance of this function of theta and phi, and using Jensen inequality, you just have it larger than the log of theta and s divided by Q1 and s phi. So here it's a 0 and s, and here it's 1. And s divided to 0 times 3/5 of 1 and s is 1 and s divided to 0 is 1. Okay, so now based on this family of your two variational family, meaning that there's a family p theta and p phi, you have a lower bound for n phi and theta that you can try to maximize. Okay, so here now you maximize this function of now the game is to maximize this function of phi and theta to be closer and closer to the objective goal, which would be in fact to so here in maximizing phi, you try in fact to tighten the difference between your approximations there and the true likelihood. Okay, and maximizing theta, okay, you try to maximize the approximation of the likelihood. Okay. So that's okay in a nutshell, in very quick, the idea of rational autoencoder. Okay. So now you try to learn theta and phi in the same manner. Yeah, and you have and so for and then for in vanilla rational autoencoder, here you just to have a new sample from your generative model, you just sample from Q5. Whereas in fact here, what is a bit tricky that in fact we sample from P theta. Okay, so here now we have defined the goal, meaning that okay, I want to maximize phi and theta. Okay, so I want to maximize this function of theta and phi. And once in fact I have found in fact some parameter theta and phi which hopefully maximize this quantity. Okay. If I can now sample from p theta, okay, I have my generative model, okay, because I will see in fact I will design p theta in such a way that in fact I can sample from p compared to in fact my vanilla rational. And last but not least, okay, the design of p theta and p phi should be that at the end, this elbow and this function of theta and phi should be tractable. Or at least you should be able to try to optimize this function of theta and phi. And that's why in fact we will start by specifying the choice of q phi and p theta, which appears in the interpretation of score diffusion model as variational ontology. Question before I give you the q phi and p theta. Okay. So here is I choose for q phi. Okay, so here I choose for q phi as I said to you. In fact, I consider a markup decomposition of the for q phi. Okay. So here for the q phi, I will just take in fact the distribution of my Euler-Mariaman discretization of my Einstein-Riebeck process given x is 0. Okay. So it just corresponds to taking the product of the transition density q k plus 1 given k, okay, where q k plus 1 given k, okay, is simply the Gaussian distribution with mean x with mean 1 minus gamma xk and variance 2 gamma identity. Okay, so here, as you can see, that in fact there is no parameter there trying to optimize, but still, okay, give me in fact it somehow degenerates family, variational family, because we will not try to optimize over phi. Yeah. But in fact, more complicated version of score generative models, in fact, an extension of the work of Polytechnique, in fact, they try to incorporate also this extra parameter to try to learn this dynamic, to end up with a better dynamic at the end. So that's for the forward. So that's for the choice of my instrumental density there, which I will play around. So here in my overall function, in fact, I will not have phi to optimize. I will just have theta. Okay. And now, okay, the choice for p theta will be based on the decomposition of the loss. Okay. When I plug the expression of q phi, I just set before. Okay, so here now, let's take a look at the loss function. Okay, so here the loss function I just defined there. I can write this loss function, assuming that p theta also decomposes. I consider here the backward decomposition of p theta. Yeah, and I assume that okay. I assume this kind of Markovian decomposition for p theta, of course. And I can now decompose the loss into 3 terms, in fact, ns plus 1 z term, exactly. So here, the first term corresponds to the terminal condition here, right? And in this case, in fact, I will simplify a bit this expression because I will assume that p ns theta is simply the Gaussian distribution. So in this case, in fact, this term disappears. No, it's not a function of theta or phi because, as I said to you, I take in fact a variation, an instrumental density q which in fact has no parameter phi to optimize. Now, just using in fact the property of the log, here the logarithm of the product, then we can appear the sum of Lk for k equals 0 to ns. Here, in fact, I separate the initial distribution there at 0 because okay, for the optimization and the choice of P0, given one for theta. Okay. In the paper, in fact, they have some recipe to choose the initial density, which are present. But let's now focus on the intermediate term. There's a sum from k equals 1 to ns minus 1 of L of k. Now, L of k is exactly given by this expression Z. And what I will try to convince you is that, in fact, this term is corresponds exactly up to gamma, okay, to the case term in the loss of the score diffusion model I present you already. Okay. So it's 4. I think you can take a break. Okay, so let's start again. Agree? So let's try to simplify a bit the expression of LK, given that's an array, of course, I chose of QK. But here, okay, what's what I need? So here for QK, given so here just for QK, given K, this one. Okay. I just consider the long representation of the question process. So here it's just scale. Gamma and so gamma eventually. So here I want to work a bit on LK and simplify this expression, as I said. Let's go for it. So first, I need to specify that the conditional distribution of K given K plus 1. So now it's not that simple because here, as I said to you, okay, I want to consider a backward decomposition on my variational family with respect to theta, and so I proceed the same with respect to Q. So I need to work a bit for this. So just timeline validation here. So here, anyway, that's already what I considered before. That's okay. Here, x squared plus 1. I can always write x squared plus 1 as 1 and gamma k. It's a 0 plus now sigma k plus 1 k plus 1 at sigma at k plus 1 is a standard Gaussian random variable. Sigma k plus 1 square, okay, is this relatively easy expression, and alpha. So here I just denotes to simplify a bit notation. Alpha k plus 1 is 1 minus gamma to the power. So now, okay, I want to express the conditional distribution of xk given k plus 1. And for this, in fact, I just use my favorite bias formula. And so I know that the conditional distribution of xk given xk plus 1 is proportional to qk, the conditional distribution of xk plus 1 given xk, and times the conditional distribution of xk given x is 0. And here, okay, I can treat this as a normalizing constants. Okay, and I just can focus on the logarithm of this quantity there and try to simplify a bit. Because, okay, I know that it will be Gaussian because everything is Gaussian at the end, and I just want to identify this function as a Gaussian distribution with respect to the parameter xk. So you can do it. I will not make the complicated computations because I will make some mistake. Yeah, I'm sure about it. But if you, I think you believe me because as I said, everything is Gaussian, every conditional distribution is Gaussian. And now, okay, as previously, okay, I want to reverse somehow the role of xk and xk plus 1. And if you do this, okay, if you proceed as before, you can write that in fact -2 times the logarithm of the product of the conditional of k plus 1 given k times qk given 0 can be written as the norm square, okay, of xk minus, okay, ak given k plus 1, where in fact ak given k plus 1 would not be a matrix, okay, it would be simply a scalar which has this ugly expression there. But somehow, in fact, it's simpler if you just consider variance which are constant during the iteration. Time plus now bk given k plus 1, which will be also this scalar here, times z at k plus 1, where I just denote by z at k plus 1, it's just notation. Z at k plus 1 just corresponds to xk plus 1 minus x0 divided by sigma k plus 1. So you have this norm square, so you recognize the log density minus the log density of the Gaussian, okay, with this the mean which is given by this quantity there, and divided by 2 times, okay, the same variance as before, okay, it will not change at all, and the variance, okay, is given there, but since everything will be constant, it will not change, and plus that with the constant d, which may depend on xk plus 1, but as before, you can get rid of, because here you are just really interested in the conditional distribution of xk given xk plus 1 and xk. So once again, okay, we end up with this formula of the conditional distribution of xk given xk plus 1, okay, it's this Gaussian distribution. And based on these observations, the author, in fact, of the paper from which I create my annotation there, say, okay, somehow, okay, I want to now design, okay, given these choice of instrumental density Q there, I will in fact choose p theta, okay, in such a way that, okay, it has the same form that's Q. Okay, so here in fact it's guide, in fact, the choice of the variational family theta. Okay, meaning that's okay for this choice of Q phi. Okay. Now, okay, let's put in fact for p theta the parametric family of density p theta given k given p theta k given k plus 1 of xk plus 1 as also a Gaussian distribution, yeah, with the same variance than Q, because it will simplify your the expression of the loss function. And with some mean, okay, so here the first term in the mean will be the same, then it simplifies in fact the expression of the loss, plus now the dk given k plus 1, so here it will be the same. But now, okay, you put a function, okay, parameterized by theta, a function of xk plus 1. So that's basically the expression of p theta, which now you consider. And in fact, you really consider this form of p theta because in fact it simplifies a lot the loss given the choice of q phi. That's in fact the main justification of the author for choosing in fact p theta. And that's it. Okay, so now if I choose the computer knows something what to end. I need to reload, sorry. But here, so now you can continue a bit maybe on the board. So here, the main observation that now on the choice of theta, the q phi, which I chose, let 0 and S, and 2 by 1 in S. In fact, if I look at the expression of the case term in the elbow, which I just derived, the function theta, it will simplify the bit, meaning that now it's simply the expectation of what I call z theta at k of x k minus now z at k norm square. And here I have also bk. So let's see. So you almost recognize, in fact, the loss that's I introduced before for stochastic, so score generative models, and in particular the interpretation that, in fact, when you see the loss of the score generative model, you try to predict the noise. It does not work. Yes. Okay, it does not want to.
You want to connect it to that to see what it's months? Well, I mean,
I didn't press anything.
the next thing is that
Okay, nothing works.
And there's some red button. Thinking.
Okay, well, it's. That's right. Maybe it's just needs to wake up somehow.
It works. Let's see.
I think you used up your time, essentially.
I think so.
I think that's. You only got 2 hours and then,
Yes.
that's it.
I have still 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, if that computer works.
Yes, I can
You
use.
can just connect to the Zoom, let's see.
Yeah.
Right, if this one is always connected to Zoom, we can always. If you have Zoom here, you can just join.
Let's go for this. Yes.
No. So, but we,
Zero? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, so here. Sorry for this. Small introduction. So now, okay, as I said to you, in fact, you can write based on this, on this interpretation, on the choice of theta. Okay, design, okay, based on the choice of the variational family Q. In fact, you end up with this case term in the loss, having exactly this expression there, and when you simplify and use the fact that yk plus 1 is equals to this term there, you end up with exactly this loss here. Okay. Up to multiplicative constant, which I will not write, but basically you can see that it's ready. It's almost, as you can see, in fact, it is in fact the score function, but here what is a bit more complicated is that, okay, here we don't recognize exactly the backward process which I gave you before, okay, for stochastic, for score generative models for SGM. But if you make a Taylor expansion of the expression of A and B, okay, and that's what is done here. That okay, if you now make a Taylor expansion of A, B, and sigma, okay, with respect to the step size, now in fact you and plug this approximation in the recursion there, you recognize exactly, in fact, the same recursion that's for HGM, which I gave you. So up to small gamma, there's the recursion which is given by this variational interpretation, which I show you here, and SGM is exactly the same. Okay, but you have still some discrepancy, which, to be honest, I don't completely fully understand, but that's which comes from at least maybe in fact the large differentiation of the reciprocal processing. Okay. So that's concludes the I think the rational interpretation of SGM, and okay, as I said to you, in fact, you have almost the same interpretation. Regarding, in fact, the first, so here it was for k greater than 1, the interpretation of the choice of p of x k given x k plus 1. For 0, okay, the author of the original paper suggests, in fact, to use as the first conditional distribution, the first conditional density. In fact, to use an independent decoder, because in fact it wants to generate images, and so for generate images, okay, they are suggesting in fact to use as a first layer, in fact, the decoder of the image that you learn, okay, which is given there. That's okay, some implementation trick, let's say, that's in fact to fix to generate images. And so I will just have the time to conclude on the interpretation using a continuous diffusion model. So here it is. So And that's why, in fact, I use a lot the Lerner discretization of the Huchten-Uhlenbeck. So here, what we have considered first is we consider the discrete time non-homogeneous Markov chain to transport the data distribution to the Gaussian distribution. But the main idea, okay, here is can you do it continuous in time? Okay, so now I will pretend that I can, in fact, consider a with stochastic continuous in time stochastic process, and instead of trying to consider an homogeneous Markov chain, I consider this diffusion, right? It's C, which is simply the Huchten-Uhlenbeck process. I'm trying to do the same thing that in my first part is that okay, I want to start from my data distribution, follow my Huchten-Uhlenbeck process. I know that it converges more or less to the Gaussian distribution. And now the idea, the main question is that can it make sense to, in fact, go back in time, okay, and consider what I call the backwards process. So a bit of notation. So here I consider xt, the diffusion started from now my data distribution and ending at the time horizon denoted by t. And what I want to consider now is that the reciprocal process yt, which is simply xt minus small t. Okay. If now, okay, the point is, so if I want to be able to access through the transition density of this reciprocal process, but I will be done, meaning that, okay, if I know if t is large enough, I know that I could start y on 0 by some Gaussian distribution, it will be quite close to x big T, and then, okay, follow the function density associated with this process there. But now the main question is that, okay, does in fact this process, okay, where refers the time, is still Markovian? Okay, because I talk about, I want to use some function density with respect to yt, but still, in fact, is this process Markovian? And the question is, the answer is yes. It is even a solution of a diffusion, okay, non-homogeneous in time. So here, in fact, if I define yt this way, I know that it is a solution, in a weird sense, of this diffusion there, where in fact it appears, in fact, the gradients of the log of pt minus t, where pt, okay, is the density of its small t. So here you have really, and I will make it more precise afterwards, the continuous, in fact, extension of the backward process which I just present you, and like it's more clear when written in this way. So here is just the backward process, the backward generative process, which I have defined to you this morning and a few times ago. So here it's just really this Markov chain, here with the step size gamma. And here as theta is supposed to, in fact, approximate the score at iteration ns minus k. And now what you can see is I rewrite the diffusion for which, in fact, backwards process solution of. And we can see that, in fact, this discrete time Markov chain, which I just showed this morning, corresponds to, in fact, the Miller-Hammer specification of this DDE, where you replace exactly the gradient of the density of time t by an approximation that you have learned. So that's the continuous interpretation of SGM, meaning that okay, here, based on the diffusion. So here I consider the Huchten-Uhlenbeck process, but we can, in fact, do it for whatever the diffusion, your favorite diffusion. The main issue that in fact is trying to estimate the score of your diffusion, of course. That's why in fact people like Huchten-Uhlenbeck process, because you have access to the NDS estimate of the, you can estimate using Monte Carlo methods the score. Here, okay, you could in fact replace the Schneider process by another diffusion. It could just change in fact the drifts. And okay, the estimation of the score will be more complicated. Okay. So just to conclude, so based on this interpretation, we can have but statistical results. So here is the first result by Valentin, so which will be there Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, where in fact this result is quite pessimistic in the sense that here you have in fact an exponential dependence with respect to the horizon big T. Okay. And in fact the dependence in step size in fact is not that good as well. And here you assume that okay, you learn up to M the score of the diffusion. And here okay, we and the condition on the score and the gradient of the score. Okay, in this result and also in other results, which is currently on the literature, we assume in fact strong regularity condition on the score. In particular, we assume that it's gradient Lipschitz. Okay. And as I said in the beginning this morning, in fact, currently with some quarter, we in fact collapse this type of assumptions and get some exact explicit convergence bound for SGM, and they are just a Fisher information, and they are just a finite Fisher information assumption on the data distribution. So that would be it, and thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So
we're
tomorrow,
done for today, right?
yes, tomorrow in fact there will be Dan Crescent, which will be this is the first talk at 11, if I'm not mistaken. And in the afternoon, it's Marcelo Perez from the University of Edinburgh, which will talk, in fact, about using generative models for inverse problem for solving Bayesian inverse problems. Thank you very much. Thank you.